Hey Ink enthusiasts, AlvinMunk here, and today we're going to be interviewing the voice of Kinger from Digital Circus, Bubsy from Bubsy 4D, and the narrator from Bendy Lone Wolf. Introducing Sean Chiplock. Yeah! I had to dub over this intro because my voice did not pick up properly. We're about to talk about Bubsy 4D.
Oh my gosh. Every day I'm like, do we have news yet? Do we know when it's coming out? Oh, that's good. That's gonna be the you got that too. Did I get one yet? I think I requested one from the crew. I was like, hey, if you have any left over at the warehouse, I would love one. So I don't think I've received it yet. The one I got, hold on. I've got like Bubsy's long lost uncle, you know, his uncle-in-law or something like that. But we'll add to the collection as soon as he comes in for sure.
Here's where I show Sean the Bubsy pin I got.
Oh, that's cool.
I was explaining to Sean this is from PAX West.
Penny Arcade. Yeah. Did you play any of the classic Bubsy games, or are you somebody? Go ahead.
I'm working on a video about every Bubsy game, playing every Bubsy game before Bubsy 4D comes out, so.
Now, this doesn't matter to me either way, but are you doing it through, like, the perfect collection, or are you doing it, like, on the original hardware?
The perfect collection for certain.
Okay.
I'm playing with the perfect collection.
For all those quality of life changes on those incredible games.
All right, here's the first question, Sean. Are you ready?
Go right ahead.
Can you give us a little bit of background about yourself before you got into voice acting?
Classic story. So I've always been very much a night owl. I've always been very much a computer enthusiast in terms of using the computer, not building. I'm not that much of a tech whiz. I've always been what my dad and I affectionately called a vidiot, a video game idiot, because I enjoyed playing whatever games I could. I had an NES, I had a Genesis, I had a Game Boy, you know, whatever the handheld was at the time. And I think that would describe a lot of my life growing up, is just because I would consider myself an introvert. I would consider myself neurodivergent, and as anyone who's neurodivergent may empathize with, it didn't always equate to being the most popular, liked kid at school.
Yeah.
I had a lot of time to reflect for myself and just kind of spend time on things that I enjoyed. And even going into high school, that was very evident. I was doing fine in high school, but my self-care time was staying up late, listening to Adult Swim, listening to anime, doing dailies on Neopets, playing MapleStory, which I was a huge enthusiast of at the time. And what I often tell people is that voiceover was not something that I knew I wanted to do until I completely stumbled upon it, just by sheer random chance. Because I had been involved in stuff like theater, even when I was in school, but there was something about being on stage, about memorizing choreography, about, to some degree, the looks section of it. You know, not that I'm saying that stage theater is all about the looks, but when you're in a high school or a middle school play, there is a degree of, does this person look like the character, you know, that the casting director is picking for? So it wasn't really the biggest thing that I was enthusiastic about, but it was during this late night evening that I was just putzing around on the computer, and I was, you know, checking out behind the scenes videos of websites that I was on. And by sheer chance, I stumble across this video of an actor. It was Troy Baker, actually, in a studio recording for an anime. So right off the bat, you've got, okay, I'm on the computer, which I like doing. This is about an anime, which I like listening to, and it was about an anime that had been airing on Adult Swim at the time. So I'm like, oh my God, I get to see like the process of them working on this. And that video literally showcased the process of a voice actor dubbing a line for a character. It showed the actor in the booth, it showed the video screen that the actor was looking at as they recorded. So here I am watching this show that I have been listening to off and on random school nights being made, being performed for. And that moment of discovery was so impactful to me that it basically cemented this like core passion, this core interest of I have no idea what this is, but the fact that I could be a part of this thing that's going on the television behind me, I want to learn more about this. And so that's really where it snowballed from there was I learned about what the craft was. I looked for online resources, for online communities where I could start getting involved. And I just jumped in it like head first. I wanted to be involved in it any way that I could. And a lot of it has just been branching off from it from there. It was God, that was back in 2007. So just turned 19 years, 19
nice.
years ago that I discovered the craft of voiceover and went, you know what? Let's jump into this. Let's see where it leads. Let's see what we can make happen with it.
That's genuinely interesting because I'm a sucker for like behind the scenes stuff as well. I love like,
Mhm.
behind the scenes stuff. Ever since I was a little kid, I loved like looking like behind the scenes like featurettes on like DVDs like Looney Tunes DVDs and stuff like that. Because I'm personally want to be an animator. That's my
Right.
goal. I'm going to college for it. But I've always like admired and loved behind the scenes content. So that's very cool that somebody else like you also has like a kind of similar interest
Right.
about how you got into the hobby. Not hobby, the job. Jeez.
So does your curriculum at this point, my understanding is even if there's a focus on 2D animation, there is some knowledge required of 3D programs because there's a lot of cheats that are used to give like certain 2D drawings 3D effects or appearances.
For my college I'm going to, I'm strictly doing 2D animation, but I am like going to learn how to do 3D sculpting as a bonus class.
Yep.
Or as an elective, I mean. But
I think that can only serve to help. Yeah.
yeah, because I eventually want to try and make my own video game too at some point in the future, like long, a bit away. But you know, so all right.
Very cool. I hope it goes well for you.
Thank you. I'll make sure to send you a letter if what's it called if I need.
Yeah, and there's always the chance that we end up working together.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So next question. At what age did you discover your passion for? Oh, you already said that. No, I was saying, what did you?
Yeah, I would. It was right about during Christmas break in 2007. So I would have just turned 17 at the time, I believe.
Okay. And then, this might be a loaded question. What's your favorite voiceover job you've ever done?
So it not necessarily a loaded question, but it is one where my answer some people may consider it a cop out, and some may understand once I give the deeper insight. Even despite what I have managed so far in this career, it is one of the biggest challenges is dealing with rejection, dealing with feelings of jealousy, of envy, maybe even bitterness if it's not handled correctly. You mentioned really cool projects like Bubsy. I've been a part of incredible things like the Legend of Zelda franchise, of Trails of Cold Steel, of Mortal Kombat. But then, even then, I look at things like there's a new Digimon series out, Beat Break, that has a bunch of my colleagues that I wish I could have been a part of. I have auditioned multiple times for the new Pokemon series and have not had any luck yet. There's all kinds of cool projects that I still wish that I could be in that, for one reason or another, I have not managed to land a role. And it can be really easy to have that fall back into a a negative feedback loop of, man, I'm a part of all these cool things, but I'm so frustrated that I don't seem to have it figured out. There's plenty of times where I've told people that it can be really tough to feel like you are missing out or missing the window that all of your colleagues that you grew up alongside are nailing and going, what is wrong with me? Why am I not figuring this out? Why are they succeeding over and over and over again and I'm not? What am I doing wrong? So where that boils back to the question is, it can be very easy to go, oh, well, I enjoyed doing this role, but it wasn't as cool as this other one that I did. Or
Yeah.
to go, I loved this anime role that I did. Oh, I've got another one coming up, but yeah, whatever. It's not as important to me. But I try to flip that, and I think of it in terms of two things. One is there are so many people either just getting into this career or who may have been in this career longer than I have, who feel like they have not had the opportunities that I have had so far.
Mhm.
And in addition, there's a colleague of mine, Deborah Wilson, who has a famous quote where she goes, "It didn't have to be me." And I think that's entirely true. I'm not the only actor who can play these characters. I'm
Yeah.
not the only person who could play Bubsy. Bubsy has had what, two, three, at least three
I think
different actors,
four-ish, yeah.
at least four over the course of their franchise. So we know for a fact that there are
Yeah.
different people who can play this character. I was the one gracious enough to be asked, or who was lucky enough to be asked to portray that character at
Mhm.
this point in time. So the least that I can do is give it my all and go, hey, as long as I have the good fortune of being able to perform this role, I need to showcase that it was not a wrong decision to give me that
Yeah.
opportunity. The other reason is because, for example, you introduced yourself knowing me from Bubsy. I've had people say that they are huge fans of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I've had
Oh, yeah.
people say they're huge fans of Subaru Natsuki. And no matter what someone says they know me from, I want to be able to go, oh, I've got a fun story about that. Or
Mhm.
here's why this character is fun for me. Or here's why I really enjoy that I got that chance. Versus saying, oh, well, I know that you know me for Bubsy, but Persona 5 was my favorite role of all time. So
Yeah.
if you haven't played it, tough beans, So just to give you an example, so you feel like you get your moment. Part of what I enjoy so much about Bubsy
Mhm.
is I would say about half the stuff that you hear in the game, it was already written on the script, and probably about half was ad-libbed by me live
Oh,
in
that's
the
so
studio.
cool.
Like basically every commentary that he had, there was a decent list that they had written out ahead of time. But
Mhm.
I tried to have at least one ad lib that I came up with for every single line on that script when it came to commentary that he did. And some of them I know for a fact made it into the game. Like for example, I'm sure you saw the video or the sample of if you change the slider of how often he has quips and
Yeah.
quotes, where he might go, "Wait, you're muting me," and then he breaks voice and goes, "Please don't do that. I worked really hard on this. Thank you." That was not in the script. That was something that I came up with
That's
because
funny.
I
Yeah.
I thought of when Roger Craig Smith did something similar in Sonic Boom, where he's like Roger, and Knuckles goes, "Who's Roger?" And he goes, "He's talking to me."
Yeah,
Like,
I know that. That's such a good.
yep.
That's a great like little nod to
People
that.
loved it. It was out of universe for the character, but it broke the fourth wall in a way where it's like, oh, I understand that. I'm
Yeah.
I'm in on the joke. So I want to have a story like that for every single role
Mhm.
that I do, so that everyone feels included, no matter how they know me.
That's a great way to look on that's a great outlook to look on that.
Thank you.
I love that. Sorry, I'm trying to. Oh,
It's okay.
okay. These next two questions are very cool too, because
Okay.
they tie into the Bendy thing kind of because as you probably as you know, Bendy's a cartoon and it's also a video game. Like it's a
Yes.
cartoon, video game based on cartoons. So these two questions kind of tie into it.
Okay.
I'm gonna give them both to you at once, so you can answer both of them.
Okay.
What is your favorite cartoon character and why? And what is your favorite video game character and why?
And this isn't specifically from Bendy. This
No,
is just in
correct.
general.
Yeah, correct.
Oh man. Um. Ooh, favorite cartoon character. Now, some people, this causes a flame war in some places. When we say cartoon, does this include anime, or is
Yes,
this like
it can include anime
okay?
because it's
I
still
have to
technically a
think of.
cartoon. It's just a Japanese cartoon, in my opinion.
Oh,
I classify anime as still animation. So anything
sure,
animated.
sure. If I had to say favorite video game character, I think. Ooh, like I usually default to saying one of the Mega Man characters, usually Mega Man Volnut from the Mega Man Legends series of
Hmm.
games. But I'm now that I've had a chance to stream a lot more often, I'm trying to think if there's any game or characters that I really enjoy just because. Okay,
Yeah.
if I had to pick, I'm gonna end up making my own subcategories here.
You're good.
If I had to pick character who speaks a language that I understand, it would probably be Mega Man Volnut, just because I loved Corey Seaver's performance in that game so freaking much. It was so iconic. It was so fitting for Mega Man. And as you may have noticed online over the years, it developed a very passionate fan base,
Yeah.
which is why they were so devastated when Legends 3 didn't end up being made at the end of the day. If I had to pick character whose language I don't understand, it would be Braixen from Pokemon, because specifically I think about her appearance in Pokken, which was like the Pokemon Tekken, kind of
Yeah.
or crossover game. Because in that game, she has such this whimsical, sassy attitude that I enjoy so much. Like, I don't like people who are full of themselves and arrogant, but I do like people who are confident in their abilities and are willing to show off a little bit because they have that mastery over their skills,
Yeah.
and because they love themselves enough that they're willing to have fun out there instead of being worried about what people will think of them.
Yeah.
And if you've ever listened to like voice clip compilations of her character in Pokken, it really just embodies such a fun, confident, gung-ho spirit that I want to embody for myself in my life. So I think that really left an impression on me. So that was video games, and now we need cartoon. Right. I was like, you're like, and what about the other half? Oh man. There's so many good examples. Like there's half the cast from Cowboy Bebop. I'm thinking of, is it Will from Foster's Home? Hold on. Foster's Home. Yes, Will, who's the really tall guy who looks like a basketball player.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed his attitude as well. Foster's Home in general was really fun.
That's such a good show.
It's a really, really good show. Oh man. You asked a really good question.
Thank you.
You asked a really good question. Trying to think of like all the classic cartoons that I've seen. Dexter's Lab, Samurai Jack. There was Primal, which was by Bendy as well. And what else did I grow up on? For some reason my brain keeps thinking of Camp Lazlo.
That's a good show.
Maybe I might be someone from Chalk Zone.
That's a deep cut.
Chalk Zone was a really fun show for me to watch. So I think Rudy could have been really frustrating at times, but like they were still a really endearing character and I enjoyed them. So, I think I'm going to go with my heart on this one.
All right. Oh my God, you sent me down memory lane. Just like thinking about all these like different cartoons. Thank you.
I'm sure halfway through I'm going to think of another cartoon like in the middle of the interview, be like, oh wait, I got to change my answer for this.
That happens to me all the time with stuff.
It might even be Coco. It might be Coco from the same show, just because she's silly and you can't understand her, but she's so enthusiastic and passionate. So,
all right, I'm going to give you one more question for the general, and then we can move on to the Bendy questions.
Okay.
Actually, no, I'll say that one for last. I always say that one for last. So, it's a really good question. So I'll say before last. Let's move on to the Bendy questions. What were your first impressions of Bendy as a series, and what did you know what Bendy was before landing the role of the narrator in Lone Wolf?
The first part was, what was my experience with Bendy?
First impressions. Sorry.
First impressions. Well, I'll be honest. Bendy is the most interesting experience for me and first impression, because I was aware of it. I was aware that it was sort of a half backstory, half horror game. Especially, but that was because I watched vicariously through my wife. Because my wife was a big fan of it, and she had watched videos on it. She's the type of person that will often see like a really scary game and be like, "Oh, there's no way I could play this, but I do want to watch everything that I can about it."
Yeah.
So when it came to the narration for the Lone Wolf game, I almost feel like I need to apologize, because I was aware enough about the game that I understood the atmosphere. So it's not like I have absolutely no cred and I'm just a faker who's posing here.
I got it.
But when I discovered the job, it was the listing for the job was posted on one of the freelance sites that I check every so often, which was Voice Realm. So I usually use that site for like corporate narrations, for off and on like indie projects and stuff like that. And so one day there's this listing that pops in and I get an email notification and I look at it and I go, wait a second, I know what this is for. Like I recognize these character names, I recognize the name of the project. And so I ended up doing some research into, okay, well, what atmosphere did they go for the first time? Was this the first time Bendy's had a game? No, because the Lone Wolf was
no.
It was like a remake or
It was a
explain.
remake of the second. It was a remake of the second spin-off game they made.
Yes. Okay.
So this is the third
So
game overall, technically, though. Third main
So I did
game.
research on that, and then I also looked into what the client was describing in the project specs itself of
Yeah.
like, here's the style of voice that we would like for this. So it really was just me kind of pulling from what I remembered about the game and the series and what I saw in those videos. So I figured, okay, they're probably going for something that's not. They don't want pure horror where you think of like Dead Space or Jason or stuff like that,
Yeah.
or Scream movies. But they do want something that is kind of inviting you. Think almost like if you think of the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland or at Disney World, where is someone who is trying to inform you that it will be spooky, but in a fun storyteller way, you know?
Yeah. It's so cool.
And especially because the script lent itself to maybe you start because Boris is a cartoon and he's very fun, but also there are real horrors inside. You know, like for that moment, it goes deadly serious because of the ink demon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I hate to say that that's where a lot of my experience or my first impression begins and ends, is because I recognize, hey, I am not a diehard enthusiast of this project. I'm aware of it. I think it's really cool, but I haven't personally played it. So my goal right now needs to be, as a voice actor, and this is actually very commonplace, what I do understand, I need to authentically represent. And what I don't remember or what I don't know, I need to fake it till I make it. I need to have a strong enough understanding of the project that I can give my best interpretation in a way that will fit the universe of what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just very excited. I geeked out when you did the voice. That was like a really cool voice in the trailer. That was very unique. I remember people were like, thinking it was like somebody else at first, but then like when you make your announcement on Blue Sky, it was you. I saw one of my friends say, "Oh my gosh, that was you! That was so awesome!" And I saw a bunch of people in your comment section amazed it was you. It's awesome.
Thank you. I was so excited when I recorded for it because I was like telling my wife, "Hey, don't tell anyone, but they're making another spinoff game, and it's me. I'm gonna send you the trailer when it comes out. It's gonna be me." And one of their friends is really big into Bendy as well, so it was super cool to be like, "Here's something that I know you are really big into, and now you get to hear me in it."
That's a really cool feeling. That must be.
Yes, I was. It's not often that it gets to happen, but it makes it even cooler when it does.
Let's see. You answered a bunch of my questions, which is good.
I mean, you're free to ask them again, and I can either say, "Yep, I feel like we answered that adequately," or if there's another detail I can think of, I can bring it up as well.
All right. Let's see. I'm trying to find one. Oh, this is a good one. How did you come up with the voice for the narrator?
For the narrator. Well, yes. So, I actually do think I managed to cover that, where it was, I understood that it needed to be this nice mix of cartoony, inviting, but also scary. And what's great is when a script gives you emotional beats, it means you don't have to be one note the entire time.
Yeah.
If you notice in the trailer, I didn't start off the bat with, "Prepare to visit a new chapter," where like the whole thing was scary, but I also wasn't cartoony the whole time, where I was like, but don't forget about the ink demon, where it's like, oh, okay, it's not worth being scared about. It was that nice mix of, "Oh, don't we love Boris? He's such a fun individual. You need to look for music and frying pans," because that's not typically things you look for in a horror house, you know? But then make sure you look out for the ink demon. You know, right? And it worked. They did such a good job with it in that trailer, where as I trail off on Ink Demon, and there's just no music, it's just the creaking, it's this giant wooden statue like looming over. Like, that is the kind of thing where it's, as a voice actor, my goal is not to steal the show, to steal the spotlight.
Yeah.
I want to provide what I consider to be an icing on a cake that's already great. Because yes, I can give a great narration, but if the visuals accompany it in just the right way, it leaves you sitting there like, oh God, right? Like, I'm sure there's plenty of people, even if they knew about the Ink Demon already, who heard that section and went, oh, I really hope I don't run into him. How is he going to show up in the game? In what way does he show up? Is he chasing me? Is he a jump scare? In that moment, they were just stuck in their thoughts going, oh, how I'm nervous. How is he going to show up in this game? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
let's see. Okay. Out of the Bendy characters you know, this is the last Bendy question, I think.
Okay.
And we're gonna move on to some. We'll move on to some.
It'll probably be a very brief question, but go ahead.
So, out of the Bendy characters you know, which one is your favorite and why?
I know so little about the franchise. No, it's okay. It's an okay question. Like, I know that there's is Bendy the cutesy character? Is he also the demon, or is the demon like a malformed doppelganger of Bendy?
So it's
or is that still part of the lore? Like, we're still figuring that out.
No, it's kind of both, depending on which version of Bendy you're talking about. There's two cartoony little cutesy ones. There's the ones like the cartoon one you're probably thinking of is like the one on the cardboard cutout in the game.
Okay.
And then there's one which wearing like a full on suit that the people call a vesty because he's wearing a vest. That's what people in the fandom call him. Sorry, my dog's barking in the background.
It's okay. It's okay.
1 second. Oh, thank you, Peter. That was my brother letting them out.
No worries.
But okay. So that vesty character is the Ink Demon. It's like they're the same, one and the same.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Yeah. So yes, I am I am brand new to that sort of thing. Yeah. So I will be the first to admit my job as a narrator to put you into that world. Great. If you offered me money based on answering questions correctly about trivia, about the universe and the lore, I will be broke as hell. So.
All right. Luckily, we don't have to do that because we're moving on to the various project questions. Yay! Okay. Smooth transition. That just did. So I'm going to start off with a couple of Bubsy questions, and we're going to do some Digital Circus questions as well.
Okay.
Those are the two I mostly wrote down.
All right.
So, how did you land the role of Bubsy in Bubsy 4D?
Bubsy, I was given so in voice acting, oftentimes we will have to audition for our roles. Sometimes a casting director will say, we think you're already a good fit. We just want to hear some samples and see if the client agrees. And then rarely, but not impossible, the client may go, we know we want you for the character. We're just offering you it right off the bat. Mm-hmm. I believe this was the second case where they said, hey, we've worked with you before on other games like Demon Tides and stuff like that. And we have another project that we're working on, and we think you'd be a really good fit for this. Do you want to set up a call sometime to just go through some samples, brainstorm some voice types, and see if we have, something that could work? Yeah. And not only did I say, hell yeah, I also, shortly after I got the email, recorded a bunch of voice samples right off the bat and said, I couldn't wait. I wanted to play around with the character for a while. Here's a bunch of samples. And they ended up really liking one of the ones that I sent. So we still had the meeting, but we just kind of played more with that specific voice type. Yeah. And since we already had one that was starting to work before we even had the meeting, we just kind of locked in on that and said, let's work with that more. Let's make some tweaks here and there. So by the end of it, they were like, yep, we had confidence that you were going to knock this out of the park. We'd like to officially offer you the role. And then it was just a bunch of fun collaboration from there. So there are times where once you've developed a business relationship, if that client knows you and your range well enough, and they know what kinds of characters you excel with, it can lead to opportunities where it's like, hey, we're going to save ourselves the time and money, because if we can just hire someone that we know will do a great job, we can move straight to the next part of the process instead of spending time on this.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, I gotta flip it sideways now because we're near the bottom.
Sure.
So use the broken case. Let's see. What was your thought process to make the interpretation of Bubsy stand out from previous voice actors of him?
So we had explored a couple different voice types. We had done one that was similar to like the previous one, where it's all the way up here, kind of annoying. A lot of people would describe it. I gave one that was kind of the not deadbeat dad, but kind of the hey, it's me, Bubsy, how you doing? Where it's like if you think of Reject Sonic or like the original version they had of Sonic in the movies before they did the overhaul, where it was like, I've been through a lot in life, and now I'm still wisecracky, but you can tell that I'm the washed up platformer. But then, of course, as is often the case, we found a happy medium where, Bubsy is still confident. He's still sure of himself, and he loves his family. He loves, his kid, or is it his stepkids?
I think it's niece and nephew, I think.
Niece and nephew. He definitely loves Oblivia. But even though he's a wisecracker, he's mellowed out, because people are like, oh, he's hit his uncle era, but he's the cool uncle. No, he wants to be the cool uncle. He's a bit of a cringe uncle, but he embraces it so much that it wraps back around to being the cool uncle. And man, did they give him a glow up with that outfit. So it was the parts that I understood, I gave my best interpretation, and the parts that I didn't know, I let the team over at is Fabraz the company, right? Or I need to look.
I think Fabraz was the publisher.
Fabraz is the publisher.
The developers,
Atari. Atari is the developer.
Was the publisher, yeah.
The publisher. My bad for getting that wrong. So what I didn't know, I would ask them questions and go, what's he like now? What's his relationship? What kind of personality do you imagine him having? And then we collaborated. We mixed all those together to come up with the voice performance that we ended up using.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple more Bubsy questions, and then we can move on to some Digital Circus questions.
Okay.
This one was more so like a different kind of question. Can you tell a joke in the Bubsy voice, or are you not allowed to do that?
Can I tell? First, I have to think of a joke. Most people would say my career, but I'm trying to be better than that. Okay, a joke. Oh, okay. You know why cats are so good at predicting things?
Why?
We know a lot about pause and effect. That took me all night. Please laugh a little bit harder. Okay, I feel better about myself.
Thank you. And then, I forgot about this one. What is your favorite Bubsy voice line you recorded?
The favorite Bubsy line that I've recorded. Oh, I don't know if they put this in, but an ad lib that I did was if you lose your last life, because there's a mode where you only have 9 lives and then it's you're done. I hope that there's one where he goes, "Do me a favor, will you? I want you to be the one to bury me at my funeral. That way you can let me down one last time."
They did put that in. I saw somebody.
They did?
I saw somebody like in a speedrun play that. And
oh my gosh! Yes.
Yeah, that's such a good one. Like immediately, I was like,
heck yes!
Immediately, I was putting like the gears together. And I was like, "Yep, that's in the game."
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, I love that one so much. I love I love all the lines I've heard so far from you in the game, and how good the other actors too. Okay. Oh wait, I have one more Bubsy question. I lied.
Why?
What was it like improvising, in character as Bubsy for the like Bubsy plays Bubsy 40 thing for Atari, the YouTube channel, like the video they did. Where you improvised.
What was it like doing the improvisations for Bubsy?
In character, yeah.
It was more difficult than you'd think. It was trying to find this mix of what is something that the character would actually say, what is charming or witty enough that people aren't going to go, because there is a difference between, oh, that's cringe, but I hate that I laughed at that because it's so obvious, but that's why it's charming, versus this is just really stupid, you know? So I appreciate that the team was willing to be patient and just let me work through a bunch of, because trust me, for all the ad lib lines that were hilarious and funny, there were definitely plenty where I started and finished and went, no. But having that confidence, having that freedom to go, hey, let's try these out. Let's risk sounding stupid, because that's how you find the ones that are either like, oh, that came out really good, I really like that. Or in the middle of one, you go, no, here's how we make it better. And then you do that one, you go, oh, that's the one. That's the one, you know? It's the spirit of exploration.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
All right. Last set of questions before we move on to the final question after.
Okay.
Digital circus questions. Yay.
Okay.
Because I had multiple friends who were like talking to me, like when I told them, I said, "Oh my God, I might be getting to interview Sean."
Right.
And they said, "You got to ask him, like, if it goes through, you got to ask him some Kinger questions." So,
okay.
So I said, "Sure, I'll try and throw some in." So
okay.
So we got how did you come up with the voice for Kinger, or what was the process of that?
So that one was more straightforward. In the audition sides, they had given a voice inspiration, which was the crazy robot from the early episodes of Futurama. And have you ever seen the early episodes of Futurama?
Yeah.
So if you remember when Fry gets the keys to his apartment and it's that like cramped locker, there's that robot in there that goes, "It's very nice to meet you." And he goes, actually, we met once before. And the robot goes, "What?" And he explodes. So that was the voice reference that they had for it. And so I borrowed off of that, where it's like, oh, okay, so we have a character who's, he's a little mentally unstable. But he's got that enthusiasm of, maybe I'm not all there, but I'm very optimistic and I'm very enthusiastic about the way that I talk, versus someone who's creepy who might end up sounding like this the entire time. Like, it's like, oh, I don't want to be near you, So I'm sounding like a broken record at this point, but it's about mixing what you do know with what you don't know. And it's like, oh, I know that character, so I'm going to embody that vocal reference, but I'm going to use the specs of how they describe him to affect that voice so that it sounds not all there, but also that they are, like, think of like a golden retriever. Golden retrievers are not all there, but you don't find them scary. They're happy to be there. They're just very confused all the time.
As someone who used to have a golden retriever, I get that.
You get it. So he's just a human version of a golden retriever.
Yes. I love that little comparison. All right, next question is other than Kinger, who's your favorite Digital Circus character?
I really like the Gloink Queen. I auditioned for the Gloink Queen as well, and if people have also asked, if you didn't voice Kinger, who would you have wanted to voice instead? And I love the silliness of like, I am a roller around here. And makes, again, from Futurama, it makes you think of Nixon, Richard Nixon, where it's like, I am not a crook, Yeah. So I guess there's a lot of inspiration from that show for me. But it was a short role, but I thought it was so bombastic and funny that it was a really big change, from Kinger, and that's the contrast is what drew my interest.
Yeah. Let's see. Next question is how do you feel about people saying the Kinger is the father of his fellow circus members?
I think it makes sense. I mean, I've described it as how ironic that the character that we would consider to be the most unstable, or that a lot of people felt was the most unstable, was still somehow the person that you felt the most comfortable around, And he definitely looks out for everyone else. I think if I have this fact right, I think Goose has said online that Kinger was the first one in the circus, either that he was the first one or that he has been there the longest.
I think I think it might be both, but I know for a fact he's been there the longest.
And now that I say it, now I realize it has to be the same thing. It's not like he couldn't be the first and also have been there the longest. So he's had the most time to kind of figure out, what he's doing there, to come to terms with things. So yeah, I completely agree with that.
All right. Last few questions.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, this is another good one. What is it like having such a large presence in a fandom, a big fandom like the Digital Circus fandom?
I feel really overwhelmed at times. I've struggled for years to get involved in animation projects. There was actually an animation that I had booked a major recurring character on last year, and they recast me after the very first recording session. And it was such a bummer to me because it had been several years since I had booked an animation gig before then. Um, so it can be hard at times. If you remember
Yeah.
wrapping back around to the beginning of this interview when I said there's often times where I have to battle with feelings of bitterness and envy and
Yeah.
jealousy. There's a lot of times where I wonder if I don't want to say if I'm the least deserving person on the cast, but where, because I look at folks like Alex and Marissa, and Amanda, because Amanda's done a lot of stuff as a director, but not necessarily as a performer, and they excel so much at their roles, especially even though it's Alex's very first time being in such a prominent series, being in such a prominent role. And then you have folks like Michael who have been in basically every major indie project under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a surprise to people when they aren't in an indie project that's gaining a lot of
Mm-hmm.
traction. So I feel out of my element here, being like, well, I hope I'm doing a good job. I hope that I'm keeping pace with everybody else, but it's difficult sometimes for me to feel like I belong. And I'm so grateful for the cast because this is one of the most like cozy, family like crews of people that I have been involved with on a project ever. And I'm so grateful for that. But I just, having been in projects that I thought were going to be a big deal and having them basically evaporate,
Mm-hmm.
on release, and having been on projects where the fandom has proven to be difficult to navigate at times, I am just really hyper vigilant about being like, I hope I do a good job, but I hope I don't screw it up for anybody else, you
Yeah,
know?
I get that. I think you're doing a pretty good job though, based on what I've seen with like stuff.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Last two questions of the interview. Um,
Okay.
so this one's the last Digital Circus question. Then I'm gonna loop around back to the general question I saved for last.
Okay.
Is there anything, if you can't answer this is fine, but is there anything you can say about the last two episodes, like anything vaguely?
We recorded for them long enough ago by now that even if I happen, I mean, okay, if I did happen to remember, I obviously wouldn't be allowed to tell you.
Yeah.
But I genuinely don't remember most of what happened. Um,
Okay.
in case in point, when we had the live showing of the live screening of episode 3 at a convention that we were all attending, people in the audience, my own castmates were like, "Are you excited for this? This is Kinger's episode. Are you eager to see him have the focus?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's have a good time." And I'm sitting there going, "I don't remember a single god darn thing that happened." It didn't. It was like I was experiencing it for the first time
That
all over
that's a cool
again.
feeling though.
Right, but it also meant I was sitting there going, "I really hope I didn't screw this up," because so I feel that way now about the last 2 episodes where it's like, listen, I don't even trust Goose to have not lied to us. I feel like Goose could have given us script stuff and then had us record extra lines, and they're gonna like YouTube poop a bunch of new lines together. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. I have no idea what to expect.
That'd be really funny if Goose YouTube pooped some stuff together though. All right. Okay. Ready for the final question, Sean?
Sure.
Okay. This one I ask every one of my interviews who has a voice actor. So, is there any tips or advice you can give to people who want to get into voice acting?
Start with your strengths, then work on your weaknesses. I know that there's folks who get into the craft who are like, oh, I want to voice this type of character. But if your voice type and if your natural strength don't immediately fall into that, you're going to struggle with competing. I don't want to say competing against, but you're going to struggle standing out alongside all of your colleagues who do excel in that. So if you are someone who can naturally sound, higher pitched and ditzy, you should work towards that. If you're someone who can play someone who's very optimistic and supportive, honestly, characters who match your personality are going to be the easiest to authentically represent. So
Mm-hmm.
start with your strengths, use that to establish your portfolio, and then use either the money that you make or the reputation that you develop to ask people to give you chances on other characters. Because once you've established that first impression and shown that you are capable of doing well at this, then you can ask people to say, hey, are you willing to let me take a risk and try something that's outside of my wheelhouse?
Mm-hmm.
But on the personal side, we are long past the point of growing up in the digital era, of growing up on social media, of growing up in places where we share a public space with complete strangers from all across the world. And I don't think enough is talked about regarding social etiquette, about understanding what is and is not important to argue about online,
Yes.
and especially about how you conduct yourself. I say this as someone who has watched colleagues burn bridges because of their behavior on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this as someone who is very lucky to have a career because missteps that I've had, or mistakes that I've made, or even just misinterpretations, whether malicious or accidental, have led to misunderstandings or even accusations
Yeah.
against me. It is such a wild west out there, and it is a very emotionally charged wild west at this point in time. So I implore people, please remember that everything you do online pretty much exists forever. And there is no private space. I have seen chats that were supposed to be private for members of a certain project get outed to the casting director or get outed to members of the team that worked on that project who were not supposed to see those chats. And I have no regrets because I never said anything in that chat that I would be embarrassed if it became
Yeah.
public. But I definitely was the person who went, oh, this got leaked, and now there's people who are aware of everything that we've said in here. Bye. Nope, not going to be here anymore. So it is paramount that people who want to be involved in this career understand that whether you like it or not, it borrows a lot from Hollywood. And that means to some degree, especially if you find yourself successful in this career, you are going to become a public facing figure that other people feel entitled to talk about, have opinions about, want to interact with, have to interact with. And so you need to learn how to conduct yourself as a professional. You do not get the kind of anonymity that you get as a plumber, as as an IT technician,
Yeah.
as someone who works on props for stage theater. You will have to deal with the massless, faceless public. With the mass faceless public. And if you don't handle yourself correctly, you're going to destroy your career before it even begins.
That was a great, like, beautiful way to put it. Like, especially I love how you put like the a very honest too, which I always love hearing that. But I especially am really happy you mentioned the point about how social media can be a very dangerous place, because it's true. It's very scary at times.
It is an incredibly rewarding career, and I'm so lucky to be able to do this as a full-time thing. But it requires constant, ongoing, consistent professionalism and performance and talent. I am always the student, never the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I am always trying to make sure I'm on top of current trends. Because if I don't put in the work, if I just coast, people are going to surpass me very, very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but yeah, that was all the questions I had. Do you want to say anything else before we end the Sean, or do you want to?
I think we had a really good coverage. If folks are interested in following me, I have a Twitch account. It's twitch.tv/SonicMega. If you'd like to see some of the practice work that I do. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze. I can't find.
You're good.
My tissues.
Bless you. Bless you.
Oh, it's gonna happen again. I'm the kind of person who, when they blow their nose, it tickles their nose. When their nose is tickled, it makes them have to sneeze again. Yeah. Anyway, when I stream games that I'm playing, I will often live dub the dialogue if it's not fully voiced. And that is a great way of exploring my range, exploring interpretations that I have for different characters. So I would recommend that folks who might want to get into this career tune into these and see what I do and see how I explore either character voice imitations or original interpretations based on the design of the character, the way that they talk, because all of that is part of practicing and exploring your strengths before doing it in a more competitive sense.
That's a good idea. Make sure you tune in Sean's Twitch. I know you have a Blue Sky too, right? People can follow.
Yes, same username, Sonic Mega.
Okay, all right. That was Inky News again. See you guys, and happy 9th anniversary of Bendy Inky Machine when this video comes out. See you guys.
Hey, happy anniversary. Take care.
The end.